So yesterday we discussed of how within this sites we went inside this site and within this again and then we changed the movement, the content in the movement. So what we did is it's a whole hierarchy of pages. So we edited this and we saw our changes on the publisher instance as well. So how we did, we changed the content. We have this preview over here to preview that okay how the content is looking before publishing or activating or replicating the page. We clicked over here and publish the page. Pretty simple. Now let's understood how behind the scene this connection gets to know that okay it has to activate on the same local host. Means the server is same, the port is 4503. So here you remember I told you that Adobe always suggests that you make the use of default port for these. Okay, so Adobe always suggests you to make the use of 4502 for author and 4503 for publish.
Yeah,
So
correct.
because of these simple configurations, because by default, Adobe internally also says that okay, 4503 is the default publishing port, and there it will be its configuration will be default doing the publishing. Okay.
Yeah.
Now that is why for beginners at least it is said to use the same. When you get to know about the end, then you can change the configurations by yourself. Okay. Now what happens is okay. See, there are always two icons in this home page. So one is this. This is where you find the sites, experience segment, assets, and some forms thing. Then you have this hammer icon. Hammer icon is again the authoring. Somewhere the authoring and development developers also use it. This is altogether the authors because see pages will be created by authors. Experience segment I will tell you these are also worked by author and assets are also of course authoring thing. So you as a developer would not. Of course, you would be, in case if you want to go to any page, you would be using it, but not much. Okay. Okay. But this hammer is like you do authoring configuration sort of thing. Like here to see the configuration which is doing this replication to 4503. So somewhere it's a configuration. However, it is handled by author. So all those sort of things will sit over there. Like see, even the templates. So templates is both developers as well as authors thing. So you develop the component. Once you have developed, then the authors configure those templates. So where do they configure? They will go to this configuration icon, and here you will get a lot of things. Similarly, workflows. Workflow is all authoring configuration thing. So you get the authoring. You get the workflow thing. We have assets over here as well. So some configuration of assets are being done through here. Similarly for sites. Here we have security. So all the user management, how users are created. Like as of now, you see, I am logged in as an admin user, but that is not the right way. I will tell you how users are created, then you create groups and permissions. We will discuss. Similarly, all the configuration sort of things are being done over here. Okay. So I went inside this hammer icon. Okay. So what happens is there are agents who sits on author and also sits on publisher instance as well. We call them as replication agents. So the responsibilities of these agents are the purpose of different agents is different. So we have one of our agent which we call it as default replication agent. Okay, so that default replication agent is responsible for packaging the content from one instance and migrating it to the another. So these agents, so replication agents is actually doing this thing. So we are going to see what is the configuration of those agents and where does it sits in AEM. So if I go to the hammer icon, you will see the deployment. The deployment is where you have to go, and then you have the replication. Okay. So here, if I will go to the replication, so our agent should be on author because here the agent should be on author because from author we are replicating the content to publisher. So agent will be on author from where it will be packaging all that pages or assets which we want to replicate to the publisher. I will go over here and here I have my default agent which says agent is active and replicating to localhost 256. So here, if I open this, you can see, you can check the connection if you want to test the connection. Like I can say test connection, okay, it succeeded. If you say that okay, no, my this is working on some another port, you will do edit, transport, and say okay, let's say it was running on 4504, and say okay. Okay. If you again test the connection, of course, it will fail because there is no AEM instance running on the port 4504 on my local host. So it says connection is failed. Now, if you will try to activate any page, like if I try to activate any page, what will happen is, let me just close this. And here you will see that here you have a queue. So this queue will start forming. So if I publish this page, let me not publish any other thing because all these things are already there. Okay, so in a minute you will see this queue will be blocked because there is nothing which is available on 4504. So it will say, the agent will say that it is trying to replicate it, but it's not able to establish the connection to 4504. Let me just refresh this. So you can see queue is blocked and one item is pending, which is the woman's page that we just activated.
I see.
Okay, so you edit this, again go to the transport and change it to 4.0, back to 4.0. Okay, so in a minute, so what happens? These agents keep on trying at a certain intervals, like maybe in few seconds. That is the default configuration. So here, in a minute, you will see that it will get activated, and the changes will get reflected.
It will retry. In other words, we can.
Yeah. It keeps on retrying after certain intervals.
So we don't want to go again and publish.
No. See, it's in the queue. Now it's the agent responsibility. Activation is done from our side. Okay.
Okay. Activation and then replication.
Activation and then replication. Sorry, what do you mean?
So activation means publishing and replication.
So you activate it. Yeah. Both those are interrelatable terms.
Interchangeably used. Okay.
Yeah, interchangeably used.
Okay.
Activation, replication, or even sometimes by publishing or migrating, all these are interchangeable.
Same.
You can see it's gone now.
Okay.
It was an idle and it's gone now. Okay. Now, consider if we have multiple publisher instances. One was running at 4503, other was running on 4504. 4504, and then so many, like three, let's say three publishers. So now it is the responsibility of the agents to migrate the content. Okay, so here it is the responsibility of the agent. So what we do is there is no provision that a single agent can migrate the content or replicate the content from one author to multiple publishers. So as many publishers we have, that many replication agents is what we need. So each replication agent can only migrate or transfer or replicate the content to only one publisher instance. Okay, so that many publisher instance, that many agents is what we need. Okay. So I will tell you later when we will do into some more screens how you create another publisher, how you create another. I can show you now. I think how you create another publisher instance, how you create another default agent. Sorry. So you see, always see from the top what's the path. So the path is etc replication. So if I go, did I show you the CRXD screen yesterday? Screen. CRXD.
No, we have not.
Okay, so let's not go into this.
This is exactly, I was telling yesterday that content managers and others used in the other product, that is kind of a screen.
Okay, so here this CRXD is completely a developer screen. So here you see this is the path is /etc/replication. But if you remember, the path for this was assets was, do you remember, it was like content/content/dam. So this is the look and feel, like Adobe has provided the look and feel to do it, like the screens to do everything. But behind the scene, you see everything happening over here. Like you can see, it's basically the UI for your repository. So like user interface for your repository. So here you see it was content dam, and then we created this folder, my AEM. If you will go content dam, and then here you would see my AEM and the image that you uploaded. So all that thing that you do from the actual UI can be seen behind the scene over here. Like
Yeah. So it's other one also. It's similar. Like there is a the CRXD light, right? That kind of. So that tree structure is there for entire management, and then the AEM the content authors use to modify that screen, right? The UI. That UI and the other product, they call it as Experience Manager. That similar name they call it as, and then they that we need to install separately. It's a separate software. It comes, but it's an optional one. Not every client will use it. All the authors, they go to this one tree structure only. They'll create component and everything. The authors also.
Okay. So means this, they also named it as CRXD Lite, or was that something different?
Other, it's called Content Manager.
Okay, it's called Content Manager. Okay.
Content Manager, yeah. And then the UI, some others will like to use the one you were showing, and they call it as Experience Manager. Maybe they named it maybe after Adobe one. Never know.
Maybe. But this is the screen. This is the only screen that they use it, and they call it as Experience Manager. Is it?
No. This one they call it Content Manager. Most of the content owners they use this to create components. Components there in there, components means actually content. They just insert content only, and then the code, right? The code is residing in something called component template, and this component and component template together is called a component presentation. And in Adobe
component and template. Sorry, can you come again with the last thing?
Component is one component is only content in that.
Okay.
Only content. Code will not come. The code to render the content will not be there. So that will be there in the called component template.
Okay.
So and then when in the page, right? When we create the page, we add this component, and next to the component we add a component template also. So it will become a component presentation. So so then when the code running, right, then this the component will be component will be rendered using the component template, and that's how the HTML will be produced. Similarly, here in AEM, what I understood is it's all combined. It's called component. It has a content and template both together, content and the code, right, together.
Yes.
In AEM.
So here, content is developed separately, template is developed separately, and using that we create the pages.
Yeah. So this here the component means in the component itself you have both, right? Content and code to render it, right?
So here, sorry, come again. So here, what do you mean? Here in component, what do we have?
You have the content and the code to render the content also reside in that component, right?
No, see, component sits differently from the content. See, here it's not that content is combined or content is created using components, but component sits differently and content sits differently. Maybe the things, the terms we may not be using correctly, like the content and component. Component so here in here.
Can you from here? Can you open a component here?
Yes. See, firstly, let me show you the content. So here we went. Okay, let me show you. We went inside this sites, and then it was all content. So we went inside V-Retail. We went inside this. The path that was here is content V-Retail ENL. So here, what you can do is you can directly copy from here, and you can paste it over here. Okay. Let me just remove the initial. Okay, and just hit enter. Okay. So here you see the path for this is this content, then dam icon, this. So all the content, the pages, the dams, everything which is content, which authors get will sit inside the content hierarchy. You see here EN, then I have the woman where we were working. But where does component sits? Component is basically your code. It's
Oh,
all your code, developers code. So all the developers code sits below the apps hierarchy. You develop the apps. It means every code that you develop, whether it's components or whether all the backend stuff, all sits below the apps hierarchy. So what happens is, let me just open a component. Let's say,
yeah, then I'll understand. Yeah.
okay,
Open it.
let's say we have this AEM word component. Okay, so here you can see I have this Bipin folder, and below this I have the components and some configurations and this client list. Below this I have the components, and here I have this component. Now what happens is, when we create the page, here if I go to some Bipin hierarchy, see here I have the Bipin pages as well. So here if I show you somewhere, if I would be using the AEM word component, so what happens is we refer that component inside the page. So here you see there has to be a property which is sling resource type, which will be referring that component's path. So it's saying that this content, within this content, this node has been created by using that component, which has these inputs like the color, the mail, name, and how these properties or how this node will be rendered is by using this component. So within the content, we refer our component. So it's a relative path.
Here the component means the code, not the actual content. Component is code.
Component is code. Content is altogether different. Content internally refer component. See, within a page is all content. So within a page, we place multiple components on the page. So page will be created with the content hierarchy. But when we place a component on a page, then its nodes start referring to that component. So here you can see, by using this string resource type, it start referring to that component node. Okay, it's not that component is altogether developer's thing. Content is altogether author's thing. And when you place a component on a page, then the node that behind the scene gets created. Like here you see Bipin. Okay, let me open this page, my new page. So I have this. So somewhere I am using this component. Let me add the editor.html. So that this editing becomes enabled on this page. So you see, I am using this AEM word component. If I edit this, okay, it's over here. Now, from UI perspective, from this page perspective, I just place this AEM word on this page, this AEM word component. But behind the scene, what it does is, of course, it will create a node for that. Here it's created, and it says string resource type, which indicates where exactly is the component is placed, because it needs to know how these node values will be rendered. So internally, content refers the component.
So you said how the node value is to be rendered. Where is the node value?
So you can see this node color thing. These things I inputted from here. Like if I change like color, here is pink. Let me change it to blue, and let me save it. If I go back and refresh this, see the color is changed to blue. So whatever you input inside the dialog is ultimately stored over here. Okay. Now how these values will be rendered is basically the component thing. So here we are referring this component, which will say that, okay, these are the nodes that has to be rendered, but how will these be rendered on the page? It's because of this component, which is placed at this point. We make it as a relative path. Internally, AEM automatically converts it into an absolute path. Confused? We went a bit ahead.
So now what I want to, so can you show a page, like a good page with some content and component together?
Some content. So here, this is the page. This is the page, and here we have the component. Like let me place another component. If I place like simple another component, like let's say this title component.
Title component. Okay, let's do that. Title.
Okay. If I go, I have this title component on this page. If I go behind the scene, let me refresh this parent node, because below this the title component would be added. And here again it says the string resource type is this. It says that whatever the nodes, whatever you input in from the dialog is a part of content. Okay, this authors have added. Like let me add it the title as.
So that my new page, right? Hi,
Mhm.
Tojo.
So ultimately, if you refresh, you can see the title is stored over here. But how these properties will be rendered on the page is by using this component. So here we have referred this component within the page.
No, now I see the title Hi Tojo, right? Yes. Previously I didn't see the my page you
Yes,
showed me, right?
because we didn't inputted anything inside the dialog. Huh?
So that was by
But,
default. By default,
yes.
it came
So
my
by
new page.
default, yes, by default, maybe in the title component, there would be a check. If nothing has been inputted, then put the name of the page. Okay.
Okay.
When we
Now,
will
if
go
you
to
go back, now if you go back, I want to ask something. Okay. This is what I was talking about. So now you showed me is a title component, right? Title is a
yes.
component.
Hmm.
Now that title component has both code and value, right? See, value
Title
height.
component has both. Title component only has code. Values are a part of content. These are a part of content which component will read and will display on the page. So here we have referred that, okay, this is a content which has been inputted by the author. How will these be rendered? Is by using this component. So component will have the code to read these and display it in the HTML.
Okay. So in the JCR content, okay, JCR content, my new page is a page, and then underneath you have JCR content root responsive.
See, what I did is I just simply copy this path. You will get the page path. So here you get the page path. Okay, till then. Now every page will have a JCR content node, and below that it all depends upon the structure of your template. Because the page is created using template. Like see, basic concept, like you have PowerPoints. In PowerPoints, you can select a template. So what happens with the template is that all the slides will have the same look and feel. Similarly, like in all the sites, what we see is that all the sites have a same header and footer. So best is that you create a template which will have the header and footer, and all the pages that get created from that will have the header and footer. So templates helps us in giving us the default content to the page. So the nodes these get created is because of the template, because we have created the page using a template. Always remember a page will have a JCR content node. Below that, child nodes will be because of templates, and then whatever you add the component will be added.
Okay, the response. What is that responsive?
Responsive grid is this where you can add the component. This is called as responsive.
So how that responsive grid came there?
So let's not go so fast.
So that is also a component. Is that a component?
I said let's not go so fast.
Hmm.
When we will discuss templates, we will discuss. Okay.
Okay.
As of now, you understood why components is separate, why content is a separate thing, and how content internally refers component. Any question, any doubts on this?
Okay. So in the component properties, it is basically can you click the title? Yeah. In the component properties, it is referring.
What do you mean by component properties?
This is component. You click the component only, right?
This is
Or no?
content.
Oh, it's content.
Content. This
Okay,
is
good.
content.
Okay.
Here I
So
am referring this. Yeah.
good. So now in this tree, right? Tree structure you are showing that has only content, only content.
Yes. Yes. I told you. See, again, I'm telling you, content is a part of, remember this thing, content is a part of, sorry, your component is all code, and I told you where does your code sits. Your code sits below the apps hierarchy. Always remember, your code sits below apps hierarchy. Content is where the authoring thing sits. All the authoring sits, all the content sits below the content hierarchy. Apps is where your code sits. Okay?
Okay. So that is where that one did okay. I think we only looked at content. Maybe that's the reason. Okay.
Yes.
Did we component? We
No.
didn't look at.
No.
That's So yeah, that is now it's clear. So it's the component sits in the apps and content sits here. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So we have this replication. We discussed about that. How did we went from here to there? Okay. Similarly, there is etc replication agents on author. So if you will go inside the etc, the CRXD behind the scene, we will see there will be an etc. Yeah, you can see the etc over here. And then what was that? Replication. So you will find the replication over here, and then you have the agents on author. Okay. So here you will also find the this agent. Publish agent, what is this? If I see the properties for this, so this is the default publishing agent. Okay. This is the default agent. So what you can do behind the scenes. So this is, I am telling you from behind the scene, but there is another scene for this. So if I replicate this, if I go to the this miscellaneous admin. So from here also you can do it. Opens all the etc folders. Like whatever we have inside the etc, it opens over here. So here you have the replication, agents on author, and this is your default. Okay, sorry, agent on author, not agent on author. This is your default agent. So here it comes. You what you can do is you can copy it and again paste it. Okay, and here you can write it as publish one, and it sits below agent on author, and let's just copy this. Okay, so we have this over here. So I can open this and change the port over here. So let me change it to what we can do. We can change it to 4.04. Okay. And now if I will go again back to home, let me just wait for you to click Homer icon, deployments, replication, agents on author. We have one default agent that was published. The other one that we created was publish one. So you can see the other one is okay. So this way, either through this screen, miscellaneous admin, or even you can do it from background. You can copy it like here. Here you have it. Let me just refresh this because the newer one should also be there. If you want to again create another one, just click on this, click on copy, click over here. Like that. Just wait. Click on copy, click over here and paste. So here, let's save all and rename it to publish. Publish. And then you can change the properties from here, like here. And if you want to change the name and things from here, default agent, if you want to rename it to something different. And okay, so like you see it will be replicating to which port? Let me open this. So here, yeah, it is replicating to 4503 again, to 4505. So both the ways, you as a developer, what we'll do is you can do it from here, from the backend, from the CRXD lights. Okay. Let me just delete this because we are not going to use this. And in case if we replicate, then this queue will be blocked and will keep on reading. So that is some load on our server.
Okay.
Great. Okay. So we discussed about this. Okay. So now this node is removed. You will refresh. You will find code.
And also, sorry. So when you publish two things I wanted. One is when you save, right, or transport. For example, when you publish something, now it will be transported to the publisher instance, right? The data. Now it is going in a structure, right? Like in XML or whatever the file.
In a structure, what do you mean to say? Like
how it is transportation happened, where that file I like to see.
I told you what happens, what is the responsibility of agent. I told you it is responsible for packaging. For packaging, it means it can create the zip out of it internally.
That's what I want. I wanted to see that actually.
So that cannot be seen.
In our folder, it will be seen, no?
Which folder?
So in our content, this one other instance.
Why inside the content folder it will create the zip? It will create internally. It will save that zip internally somewhere in the repository and will transport it to the publisher instance. Why it will show it to you inside the content hierarchy?
So where it is, so it won't be okay. So we were.
See, content is all. It's not that internally AEM can do anything inside content. No, content is very secured space. Like secured space means AEM cannot do anything over here. Internally, it packages and make it available or transfer it to the publisher instance. Somewhere in the repository, it stores, but that is none of our business.
Okay, so this one, the whole the structure, right? The content and command. What is the backend of this AEM? What is a backend? Where it is storing actually?
Okay, so see what happens is, okay, let me just tell you. I tell you we are okay. See, this is okay. So see, first thing, this is the CRX real-light screen, and this is actually the so somewhere there is a database. Okay, the AEM also maintains the database. So there is a database, and this is reflection of that database. Now everything here, like we have relational database in some like Oracle or MySQL and all this, but AEM makes the use of JCR, that is Java Content Repository. So how does it store the content is in the form of node and key value pair. So everything is node over here. You see, when we clicked over here, everything was node. So here, this is a node, this is a node, this is a node, and everything will have its key, property, and value. Property and value. Like we have MongoDB. So that is also stored in. So basically, internally, yes, it's all node value, but there is a database which I told you that there is a repository, that there is a repository of AEM, and that's what I told you. Like here, if I open this, so this is the folder where the repository is all created. So whatever the code gets deployed, whatever the codes that get deployed, or whatever the content changes are being made behind the scene, it stores inside this folder in the form of stars. If I go over here, you will have this repository folder, the segment node store. You see all the stars.
Okay.
So there are different ways in which it stores. One of them is stars, and one is in the form of file data store. Okay, so encrypted file. So if I go over here like data store, it will save it in the form of files. Like here we have the files. Now, do not alter anything inside the repository. You never need to go and touch anything inside this or create anything inside this, because this is all AEM thing. How internally, whatever we are seeing over here, it is in the form of, this is called a JCR. JCR. In AEM, we use JCR repository. So the data is stored in the form of node value pair, node and key value pair. Everything here is called as node. So this is a node, and every node will have a key value pair. And behind the scene, all the things, whatever you do, ultimately you deploy your code also on AEM server only. Okay, and your content is also. So here what we did is we created our code and we deployed it on the server, AEM server. Similarly over here, everything ultimately goes on AEM server. Content is of course created over there, and content is never checked in. Your content, whatever the content that you create, is never checked in. It's all a part of your server only. I told you yesterday. Okay, content is something that is checked in. That will be a part of your hard disk or local drive. From there you will check it inside the bit bucket and all. But content is never a part of your local hard disk. Content is always created on the server only. Everything ultimately goes on the server and will be seen over here in the form of node key value pair. And behind the scene, whatever we do, whatever we deploy whatever the code we deploy is stored in the form of tars and files, stores, file, we call it as file data stored inside this CRX.
So in this hierarchy, right? When we publish a page, that's package, right? Which will also be there in that uh, this one, right?
Behind the repository, within whatever the package that's created, we do not know where it is stored, but somewhere that package will also be there inside the.
Reason I was asking is the other product, right? Similarly, when we transport, right? There's a transport package will be created, like in XML, this node form, similarly, okay? Content. So if something happened, it's not going or something, we used to open, unzip it and see it, what is happening, what is inside the content.
In case, here you do not need to see that. In case if your content you are replicating and it's not available on the publisher, you just go to the replication agent. So that is why everything is there in the UI form in AEM. You go to the agents, you check if your agent is able to connect to your publisher or not. So you do not need to see behind the scene what AEM is doing. AEM is fully responsible for doing all its work. It's you who can make mistake. So if you are making a mistake, then of course some configuration issue will be there in this application. Okay. So don't think AEM may be making some mistake. It will be we only as a developer who will be not making the configuration correct for that.
So how do we, do we have a sample structure at least to see how that node value, that transport look like that file for a page, for example, a page, the page, and when I publish, I would like to see how it is forming that.
Show you. Okay, I will show you. No, we cannot see how it is forming. That is Adobe is behind the scene. That is, of course, nothing to do with developers, how AEM is working. How now tomorrow you will say, you need to know, you will go to Adobe and you will say, I need to know how AEM is Adobe or Adobe company is showing this screen. So this we cannot explore, or we cannot go and
there, since now here there is no backend database, right? Like SQL Server or Oracle. It's just Adobe. So there, whenever we save something, right? Like content, it's the same way only, but we in the backend we can see all the how it is. It's just a SQL Server actually. So we can just go and see how the content is stored.
Yes. Yeah. But here. See here, it's all. If you want to explore, you can go and copy the stars and untar it and see if you find anything. That is one way. If you still wanted to see, I tell you, that is not an thing to be told, but I still tell you is see what happens is it packages the agent packages, and somewhere in the etc you will see there should be a package folder. Here it is a packages folder, and here all the packages are.
Oh, okay.
So over here somewhere it will create the zip of yours and will store it over here. But it is all behind the scene. You do not need to know. You do not need to know how it is doing that. What you need to know is that okay, somewhere the default replication agent may have some issue and it is not able to work.
You know what? In the exam we had this for that product we had the certification, right? Certified solution architect developer. Developer they won't ask, but certified solution architect exam I passed that actually at that time, and they were going in very deep in the structure, very deep in those kind of. So that is why we go in, explore and open it, zip file and everything structure completely we learn. So that's.
Don't worry, we will also explore the things, but by the time you will yourself get to know. Okay, I told you it packages. Later on, I will also show you in few minutes that how the packages are created in the similar way. Adobe will also be packaging. Okay, so don't worry, we will be doing all these things.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, this very good. Sort of, I might go a little deeper, but then this is good. This is this is fine. We'll continue. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So this was about the replication and all.
Okay.
So, and here also you can see there is a packages screen. I will show you. I will tell you now. Okay, let me tell you now only, since we are already running very much fast. Let me just tell you now. So what happens? Let's consider a scenario that you created this server. So let me show you. Okay, let me give you the scenario firstly. So we created all the content. Okay, let's say we created all these pages, we uploaded our assets and all. Assets, content is a part of server. It's not a part of code. Let's say now you created another server. Okay, you created another piece. This was a QA, then you have to create a UAT. And of course, you can deploy the code because code is a part of your like normal hard drive or your local disk. From there, you can deploy the code. But what about the content? Content is a part of server. So how will you move the content from one server to another? Because ultimately, recreating that content by placing all the components, by using the right templates and placing the component and doing the authoring, of course, it's a very big work, and you may have hundreds of pages. So what would be the solution in this case? So what we do is here, if you have to move content from one place to another, there is a package manager screen. Everything in AEM is in the form of packages. Even the default, these agents also packages the content. When I'm saying package, ultimately it's a zip. It packages the content and then it provides it to the make it available to the publisher. In the same way, if you have to create the package of your content, that is pages, and provide it to someone so that they can have it on their new server, what we do is we will also create a zip for basically the packages. And how do we do that? Is here you see inside the CRXD, you have this and this. This is the packages. And also if I go from here, let me just go to the home screen, hammer icon, and again the deployments here also here, this packages. So here if I click this packages, or even if you click this link over here, this will also take you to the same screen, package manager. This is CRX package manager screen. CRX package manager, same. Okay. So here, this screen is where you can manually create the packages. If you want to create any package, let me go and say Tojo pages.
Hello, this is what I was asking in the, so can I see the zip file, right? This is where it is, right? It is there.
Yes, that's what I told you. So here you can create. So no, it's not okay. So here it's not that you can see the file of Adobe internal or Adobe as well, but here you can create yours. You can here you created the zip, and you can edit it, and inside the filters you can give the paths. Like consider if you wanted to give the create the zip of your content. Okay, so content you went inside like we retail, US, EN, and then your woman. Just select the page. Do not select the internal path, okay? Because it's the whole page that you have to do. Then select OK, say done, and you can add multiple paths. Like if you do done, then you add in another filter. And also if you had the top level path, like if I wanted to create the page, if I select the parent path, like let's say, if I select the parent path, like we retail, then CS, EN, and let's say below EN, okay, below experience manager. See, this is you have further paths, you have further pages. So if I select the experience, then we create the package of experience as well as child pages as well. Okay.
And a page level we can transport, or even we can narrow down, drill down, right?
No, yes, we can narrow down, but that is not at all acceptable. See, why would you create a package of simple like a component? If you are creating it, take the whole page. Okay, yeah, of course you can narrow down. It gives you the provision, but have it till your page. Just do okay, done, and then save it, and then build your package. So here you will build your package. You have built your package. Now you can download it. Like let me download it. I downloaded it. You will provide the zip to another user. Like let's say there is another developer or another author in your team. You'll provide it to them. What they will do is they will upload it, and then they will browse it, and then they will access this zip and will install it over here. Similar way, AEM internally also while replicating, it makes the zip, it will make it available to the publisher will install it. So that happens behind the scene. How that happens, I cannot show it to you.
No. How that happened is all I wanted was the content file. I just want to open and see. I think this zip, right?
Let me just show you that zip.
I will be able to see it. That's all I wanted.
Okay. So in the zip, let me just take it in the another in the same. Okay, so here in the training, let me just copy this. Okay, so here it will give you the complete path. Like here, what are the paths? It starts with /content. Agree with me? The path starts with /content. These are the package that you created. Agree with me? But you see, there is a parent folder below /content. That is this. So slash. Actually, the path starts from slash. So slash, and then you have the content. So here also, if you will go, here you will have the JCR root. JCR root is this path, this parent node. Sorry, this parent node, and then you will have the content folder. If you will go, you will have the content. You have the VRET, you have the EN, and experience, and all the child folders. Similarly, if I go below this, sorry, content, VRET, and then tools, and EN, and boom. Everything.
That XML file is, it has
Exactly.
everything, right?
It has everything.
That is the file I was asking you. Just wanted to see what is inside, how it is formed.
So when we will develop the component, when we will create the component, see, component are also created. Best way to create the component is over here. Of course, it's a part of code base. So what we do is we create the components over here because it's easy to create over here. And then what you do is you create your component over here, and then of course it's a server. You have to take the component to your local hard disk because ultimately it's a part of code and you have to check in the code. So what we do is whatever we develop over here, then we create the package of that and then we unzip it. Like here, I will unzip it and then we'll copy paste my component on my local hard disk. And there you will see that component are also in the form of XML. Let me just show it to you. It's not there. Once I will open IntelliJ, there I will show it to you the format of one of the components. So that is also in the XML. Everything that we have in our, okay, I will see where it is. I will when we will create a new project, then I will show it to you. Okay.
I now got an idea. Yeah, everything is in XML and it's coming. Yeah.
Everything behind the scene is in XML. So if you plan to develop your component from your local IntelliJ or local your ID, that also you will do it in the form of XML. XML contains key value pair and all the things. Okay. Okay, that's great. Now, okay. So we discussed about package manager that will help you in moving the code from one.
So the other one, the bpin underscore. So whatever they are creating, the AEM creating those zips, we cannot download, right? Or can we?
Whatever that AEM also you can, whatever AEM is created, that also actually you can see. Here somewhere you have the folder, like you can see all packages, Adobe packages, and this packages, and cq.bpin, com.bpin, days, fd. I'm not sure exactly
when we publish, it will create a zip file, right? When we publish
behind the scene, agents will packages. When I say package, yes, it will create a zip file, and somewhere it will have it.
Will that be available here in the package manager? That's my question.
Yes, it should be, but I'm not sure where exactly it would be stored. I'm not sure what name it would be using, where exactly it would be storing. I'm not sure.
Yeah, but then it will be here. Then we can also download and unzip and see, right?
Yes, you can do that.
Yeah, that's what I was asking.
Even if you do not want to do it automatically, like you through activation of the page, like here you go and you activate that page. Here, what else you can do is you can manually also do. You can package the same page through here, and then you can download it like the way I downloaded it, and then you can go to and log in into your publisher instance, and there also you can install. That also you can do manually. The same thing that is automatically being done, you can do it manually. Okay.
Got it. Yeah, very good. I mean, so everything is here, and also it's very good that you have an interface also. See, for example, there, there's no, we didn't have an interface like
No, but
this.
if you do not have the interface, then if you have to take the content from one server to another, then how would you be doing that in your earlier way or earlier WCM? See here, this package manager is mainly to migrate or to package the content. That is the main purpose. Like you created all the content.
There it is called import export wizard. Yeah, it is there. Import export wizard.
There should be there because see, content. Remember, content is always a part of your server only. So that is why company keeps on taking the backup of their content by daily sort of job sort of thing or something daily. AEM internally also provide this job where you can take the through which you take the backup of your content on daily basis or hourly basis sometimes. That is all up to the company's policy. Okay, some companies have strict policy, stringent policy where they want content to be taken backup on regular 1 or 2 hours, or some have a daily, or some have like.
So you are showing me an instance where usual path is if we need to publish something, you go to that page and publish, right? Instead of doing that, what you are saying is if you need a bulk publish, if you want to do, go to package manager and do a packaging. Is that what you were telling me?
That is no bulk. If you want to bulk activate, that also you can do from here. Here you can select multiple pages. Here you can select all these pages.
Then what was the package manager do? The package.
Package manager, again, you have your QA instance, and now you want to set up your UAT instance. Your QA instance won't be directly migrating the content to the UAT instance. Here you won't get the option to migrate the content to UAT instance. And in the UAT instance, you will have authors and publishers. So how will you take all that content from QA instance to your UAT instance? See, this replication is used basically to migrate the content from author to publisher. But of course, your QA server would be sitting on a different server altogether. Here are my if consider this is my QA, which is on localhost. So my publisher of this is also on localhost only. Okay, but your QA would be altogether on a different server. So when you want to migrate your content from one server to another, how will you do that?
One other instance to another other instance sitting on a different server.
That is one example. But the main thing is, how will you migrate the content from an instance of AEM to another? Basically, this is the question. And the answer to this is through package. Create the packages of that. There are many tools.
When you say again, one instance means is that author instance or publisher instance?
Any instance. Any instance. See, if you say that okay, this content is different on author and different on publisher. Okay, this page looks different on author and different on publisher, but I want the page that is there on publisher that I want on my on some different server. So how will you do? So from publish, you will go to the package manager, you will package that. See, remember that replication agents are being used only for the purpose of migrating the content from author to publisher. If you want to take the content and deploy it on and get it on some another instance altogether, like and some which is maybe somewhere altogether different. So for that you will packages the pages, na?
So
of course, the replication agents. Remember, replication agents are only for migrating the content from author to publisher. That is only the purpose of replication. Not you can migrate the content of using that from one environment to another environment. That cannot be done. That is not acceptable to be done through replication agent.
So I have a publisher sitting in one server, and I have I have an author instance sitting in one server. I have my publisher instance sitting in another server. And using the replication and using the normal publishing, I'm able to port the information to the other instance. Now, in this, using the package manager example, what you are giving me is again it's that author instance to publisher instance or author instance to other instance? What is the difference?
Brother, wait. See,
Hmm.
your replication agent, see, everything has a purpose. Your replication agent, the purpose of replication agent is to only migrate the content from one author, the same environment. Environment should be same. If it's QA, then I'm only talking about QA's author and QA's publisher. So the responsibility of agent should only be to migrate the content of same author, same environment's author instance to the same environment's publisher instance. Even if the publisher consider is sitting on some other server, maybe on your machine, which is on IP 123.0.0.167, then I will update it to that IP. IP will be that, and of course, whatever the port you are using. The responsibility of replication agent is to be used within the same environment and to migrate the content from author to publisher.
Within the
Now,
same
let me just complete. Brother,
within the same environment, you mean what, sir? Within the same environment means
What is this? What is this? This is our prod environment.
I see, prod environment. Okay.
So it has one author and multiple publisher instances.
Okay.
Okay. And now similarly, we will create a Q environment that will also have an author and maybe multiple publisher or single publisher. So here to migrate the content from here, author to publisher, you will use this replication agent. But if you want to take your content maybe from author of your prod to the author of publisher, or even from author of prod to publish instance of QA, then you should use package manager. Or see, when you have to migrate the content from altogether one environment, see, when I'm saying one environment, it means ultimately it's the AEM instance only, either author or publisher. But you will package the content from the author instance or either the publisher instance of one environment, take it to the author publisher of the other environment, another environment, and then you will install it over there.
Got it. So I see what you're saying, because we cannot come here and URI, we cannot, in the production environment, we cannot come here and change the URI to QA environment,
that is,
right?
why would you do that? That is not an acceptable approach. Everything has a purpose.
Exactly. That's not acceptable. That's why we can use package manager to
package manager. And also to add on that, package manager, there is a limitation on how deep or how many pages you can package. It's not that you can give a complete hierarchy where there are thousands of pages and that you start packaging that. So that is, of course, will not work and will fail. The package manager will fail. So there are another tools available which helps us in doing the bulk content migration. So if you have few pages, like consider 15, 20, or maybe 100 of pages, 100 or 200, 100 or 200 or even 500 pages, that is all okay with this package manager. But consider you have a big website which has maybe thousands of pages. So for that, of course, package manager is not through package manager you can create multiple packages. You can create package of 200 pages. That also you can do. But then you have to create multiple packages, one package at a time, and second and third and fourth, and install them, then download them, build them, then download them, and then upload it on another server. So to prevent this, of course it can be done, but to prevent this, there are another tools in the market through which you can do, and even Adobe also provide the tools through which you can do.
Got it. What is the any tool name, anything?
Okay. So there is a jar which is called as CRX2O. So if you will search, just explore on this CRX2 O AEM to migrate AEM content, okay? And you will get all the information using a migration. So there is a jar provided by Adobe that will help in migrating the content, bulk content, CRX2O migration tool. Read about this, you will get to know about this.
Got it. So that is AEM's one. Okay.
That is AEM's one. Outside one, there are tools available. Just search ACS tool for content migration and Delta using ACS command verify. Okay.
Okay.
So these two, one is the ACM tool, the other is the, let me just bring it over here, chat. One is the ACS, content migration, and the other one is CRX to Oak. CRX to Oak is best suited. Okay.
So
The
now
other, yeah.
you can save it into your notepad, because
Okay.
when I get that notepad, everything will be there. No.
Oh, no, that's so content migration. Okay. Another thing, since you are like more focused on this content migration, so these tools work for migration of content from to on-prem to on-prem. Like you have in like you are running an on-prem server, multiple on-prem environments. One is prod, one is Q, and for that it will work. But to migrate the content from on-prem to cloud, Adobe Cloud, we discussed about this Adobe Cloud. So consider now you are migrating from 6.5 to Adobe Cloud. So of course, code you can deploy separately, but content has to be migrated. There is a separate tool which works altogether differently for migrating the content from 6.5 to Adobe Cloud, and that is called as content transfer tool for Adobe as cloud service, AEM. Okay, this is mainly CTT, content transfer tool. After that, it's all. But while you're searching, just write for Adobe. Okay.
Yeah.
So there, as of now, there is no such tool in the market who can do content migration. I searched a month or 2 months before. Still, there was not. I'm not sure if now they have introduced, but who migrate the content within the same cloud to cloud. Like you have multiple, one is dev and one is prod. And if you migrate the content from prod to dev or dev to prod, so there is no such as of now. For that, you have to use package manager only as of now. I'm not sure. I'm not till 2 months back, I can tell you. I'm not sure if they've introduced now. I'm not sure on that. But till 2 or 3 months back, there was no such tool who can do the content migration within the cloud. Like here we are using, we are on 6.5. So within 6.5, we have multiple environment, one is prod and QA. We can do that. But cloud to cloud, there is no such. Got my point? When I say environment is whole, author and its publisher, the whole thing. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
We discussed about this. Now let me just show you a few of the authoring things.
Yeah.
Let me go to sites. Let me go to this Ian and woman edit. Okay. So always remember, if your page directly opens, add the editor.html.
Yeah.
Okay. Now we understood what is preview. Within the edit, okay. Consider we also discuss about this publish page. Similarly, we have unpublished page in case if you want to remove your page from the publisher. So if you will click on unpublished page, what will happen is it will remove the page from the publisher. So that again, the same replication agent, it will send some command. I don't know what that is, but it will remove this page from the publisher behind the scene. Okay. The whole page from the publisher will be removed. So if you click on this publish, then the page will be removed. You have log page. This is important. See, if an author A is working on this woman page and parallelly author B also starts working, like they also start updating some content. So their work may override with each other. So to prevent this, what happens is authors have the capability that they can log a page. So here, once one author will log the page, then another author cannot work. So here you can see the log icon is over here. So if you consider Tojo, you are working and me, I am also working. So you will log the page, then I won't be able to unlock it. So I won't be able to edit this page anymore. So in case if you have to unlock, it's only you can unlock it or the administrator user can unlock. Admin user can do each and everything. Everything can be done by the administrator user. I'm logged in as the administrator user. I have all the rights to do everything. So even I can unlock it. Since I'm logged in as an admin user, so I can also unlock it.
Okay. Now, if I forget to lock it, and then I'm
Forget
editing.
to lock it or forget to unlock it?
Forget to lock it.
Okay.
And I'm just editing something, and then somebody else also editing the same thing. So
There may
we
be a
do.
possibility that you opened the dialog for this. You opened the dialog for this just a minute ago, and you updated the content over here, and someone also came just after a minute, and they also changed the content. Okay, they also get the requirement that you change it to something different. So your content will be lost.
Lost, correct. Yeah, the other product, whenever we edit, when click edit, automatically it will be locked state.
Locked. Okay.
Manually, we don't have to lock it.
Here, actually, you have the provision, you lock it, but it can be unlocked by you only or the administrator. Remember, administrator can do everything.
Yeah.
So that is why when the authors joins the company, what company does is they create their different user with the different permissions. Okay. So admin resides with the, you can say, the company owner or the main head. The admin password or the admin credentials reside with him only. Rest everyone gets a different log user.
Yeah.
Okay, so we discussed log, publish, and publish. View as published also we discussed yesterday. So it opens it in the publishing mode. So I told you, okay, the difference between that preview and over here is preview actually still behind the scene, the code for this will work in the author mode only. So when we do the preview, when I do the preview, behind the scene, if we have consider if we have make a check in the backend code, somewhere in the component, in some of the component, if we have make a check that if the instance is equal to author, then display it in certain manner. And else if the instance is equal to publish, then display the content in a different manner. Then, so here when we click on this, actually it will take it inside the else if condition. That is, if instance is equal to publish. So it will display in the background also, it will work as a publisher instance. All the things will work as a publisher instance. So if you want each and everything similar to your publisher instance, you do this thing, view as publish. But if you're okay that only you want to see how the things are looking, go to the preview. Okay, so this is the difference. Now, yesterday I told you, we gave our names to our instances. So you remember that we gave the names to our instances. So here we gave the names to our instances in the startup.net. So these names or this sling run mode actually helps us in identifying what type of instance is it. Here I can make a check if the instance is equal to publish, and if the instance is equal to Tojo, and if the instance is equal to preprod. I'm saying and because here there are three names to this instance. One is publish, the other name is Tojo, and the third name is preprod. So these run modes are used to give unique names, and on the basis of this unique name, we can identify the type of instance and we can execute different codes for different instances.
Got it.
Okay. Great. Okay, so help is nothing. You will get the pop-ups and navigation. So if you want to learn more about authoring, authoring, you can go help and everything, like what all shortcuts are there. You keep on going next and it will give you the whole idea. Okay, so we have over here, we have the layout. You develop this page, you from authoring perspective, you develop. From the backend developer side, I will do the whole development, and I will from JS and CSS, I will also make sure how the page will be rendered on different devices, how it will be rendered on different laptop, iPad, and all that. But once you do the authoring, you also need to, as an author, also you need to make sure that how the page will look. So inside the layout, you can go and check how the page will go from authoring, how the page will look on different devices. Okay. Got my point?
Yeah. So in layout, okay. Layout is okay.
Layout is how the page will look on different devices. We have developers. Developers is actually what happens. You develop a page. You use different components, maybe 10 or 15 components on the page, and then you realize that your page is loading too slow, man. What could be the reason? So here in the developer mode, you can go and it will help you telling how much time is being taken by each and every component that is being loaded on the page. So here it tells you that, okay, this is the time taken by the whole page. And within this, the segregated time taken by each and every component. So here we have these many components. Hero image is taking 6 milliseconds within this responsive grid. So see, this responsive grid you were saying, this responsive grid is this blue line. What we call it as responsive grid is also a component only, but it's a container component. By container component, it means it can contain other components and we can drag and drop other components within it. So always within the responsive grid, you can place the component. So you will see the arrow over here because internet will have more components. So here you have the responsive grid, which is taking this much of time. Button, this is taking 1 millisecond. Teaser, all this. So no developer, basically more of developers think what time is being taken and how much. You go over here and try. Okay, time wrap. Okay, I will tell you later and live copy and
the components you just showed me is that is out of the box component, right? From AEM.
Yes, these are some of the out of box or the vRetails component. So this vRetail is a demo site being provided which have the content and the code base as well. In our AEM, the code and content for this is deployed. So these components you can say out of box or are the vRetails component.
Core components, they call, huh?
No,
core.
These are not core components. These are vRetail components. So see, Adobe has developed vRetail as a dummy site. So it has developed the code for that. By code, it means the content template, component template, and its content as well. So these components are the vRetail components. There is a separate thing which is called as core components, which I will tell you once we will go into the component thing.
So, but these components also can be reused. Any components can be reused.
These can be reused. vRetail component can be reused. But I told you, why would you have the vRetail code on your publisher on your production instances? It's not good to have the other websites code in your instance. So yes, you can use it. You can take it on your local and try using it. But when I will develop a new code base, you will find that this new code base that we will develop will automatically get so many out-of-box components that which you can use. So you will forget about using the vRetail components. Okay, let me just show it to you. See here, we developed this code base, this Vipin code base, and within this Vipin, all these folders get created. And if I go inside the UI app, so the UI app is again it's saying that okay, within the app, the code will be deployed. If I go main, content, ACR root, app, so here inside the Vipin, you will see components and you can see so many these are all out of box components. I was only working on these two, three components. Rest all are by default Adobe's created component when we create this code base. So when we created this code base, all this component comes by default out of box.
Are these components called the core components?
These are still are not core components. Core components is altogether different. Core components is Adobe's provided some components. They also provided in the package form, which we can install through our package manager screen. And those are the best, are created in the latest way or the best way of working. They are like if I open the apps, again, all the code will be stored inside the apps. If I go inside apps, we have WCM, not WCM, we have the core and WCM, and here we have the component. These are all the core components.
Okay, now the other
components are provided by Adobe so that you can take reference and develop it according to them. Other ones were created by default when we created our code base. So you can take reference from any of these, either from these or from the core component. Core components, what happens with the core component? Adobe keeps on providing latest updates or new features or the best way of work. See, you created your code base once, so that code base will remain as it is. So this code base will remain as it is. There will be no updation on this. But this core updates will keep on updating. So when you will deploy the newer version of AEM, these core components will have the updated things, newer features. Okay.
So how did we create the code base? Did we, using the sling mode?
We haven't went in this. Let's not be so fast.
Oh, okay.
We have still a lot of days for the training, so we will discuss. Okay.
What I thought is, did I miss something? That's what I was.
No, brother, you won't miss anything. We will discuss each and everything.
Bipin,
Don't worry about it.
so that we didn't cover, right? Yeah, that's why I didn't remember.
Of
Yeah.
course, brother. We still haven't touched based upon components. We haven't even started discussing about components. So how can we cover that?
Code base, right? Yeah.
So don't worry, everything will be done. It's not a single day or a week training. It will take some time.
I know.
And the way in which we are going, the pace, it's going to take a lot, man. I think, yeah. Okay. Okay. We discussed about this. I don't know where we started and now where we are.
No worries. I mean, but I know that it may not going in the structure that you might be planning, but this is helping me a lot by going.
That's great to know. Okay, just let me where we were. Okay, yes, we were on the authoring.
Yeah.
See, we were on the authoring, and I don't know how did we went inside the component. So I'm okay. So that's great. That's really great. Yeah, that's really great. You have. Okay. So we discussed about this. Okay, I am leaving for you to explore this time graph. Okay, so I will be asking you tomorrow. Targeting we won't be discussing, but this is all will be with the target. Time graph you will explore, and tomorrow you will tell me. Okay.
Explore where?
Explore on Google.
Google.
Or,
Oh, okay.
yes. Just look, or if you have the instance up and ready, just see what is the time graph functionality in AEM author. What is this time graph functionality?
Yeah.
Okay. So start workflow we will discuss, then we will go into the workflow things. Edit template is also we will discuss, then we will discuss about template, but it's viewing admin. Okay, it takes us to the back screen, nothing much it does. It's useless. So it takes us to the back screen, nothing. Okay. Okay. And okay, this is important now. So here, go back to the edit mode. So here you have three things. One is this. So here, this I'm talking about this thing. So we discussed about this, and now we are discussing about this. So here we have this through which you can add your assets. You remember we updated our asset because we were on this. So if you go over here, then you will see a different thing. So we are on over here. You can select whatever you wanted to. If you want to search for videos, products, documents, or content fragments, we will discuss content fragment later. But whatever you update or whatever you add, the latest will start appearing on the top over here. Okay. This is where you can add images, and the third one, okay, this is nothing like you add the component. I will tell you about this later when we start. And this is again this link whole shows you about the hierarchy of your page, like which all components are there on the page, where are they placed. If you want to open the component like you are editing from here, you can even edit it from here. You can go and click over here. That also is another way to edit the component. Nothing. Either you can edit components, open the components by going over here and like here. This is the best and the easiest way. However, you can click over here and then also try to find, okay, this featured product here, maybe it should be somewhere over here and it would be title. Okay, it's not this, then somewhere above this, then maybe this. Okay, this. So this way also you can edit. Nothing much. Okay, and let me just tell you about this as well. The second option, nothing. See, you can add the components over here in the responsive grid container component. So here you can click over here, you will get the plus icon and you will get this pop-up from where you can add the component. Like let me just select one simple component, like the title component, like this title. So here title gave me the default text, which is the name of the page. I can even edit it to say my page. Okay. And now there is another way, which is this second option. So second option also helps you finding the component and dragging it and dropping it on the page. Like if you go and select and drag and drop this content fragment, it will start appearing. And you can nothing. Okay.
Yeah.
I hope. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
All clear. All clear with this respect.
Yeah, we just create a content fragment and all. We are not touching, right? Later.
It's a component that I placed. Nothing. It's just a component. I showed you. This is a component. You can place any component. I'm not going to show tomorrow how the content fragment component work. It's just that I wanted to show you how there is another way you can place a component on your page.
Okay.
Like just this title or this text, you can double click this, or you can just click over here and then click on this plus, or double click this second way, or go over here and select the component that you want to.
Okay.
The third. Okay.
Yeah.